Hello, empowered principals. Welcome to session 2 of Released. Now, I call you empowered principals. I know it might not feel very empowering right now, and that's okay. You don't have to identify as empowered. You get to feel how you want to feel. The reason that I am taking this masterclass and pulling it out and having it be very slow with not a lot of content is because I have personally been through these feelings before. And I know that one, they take time, two, they're not linear, three, they come in waves. And they loop. So you think you've kind of like maybe you've had a couple of good days, you're feeling a little better, and then boom, something hits you and another wave comes in and it crashes you again. And you feel like, why am I still feeling back to the beginning? So this class is I'm teaching it and I'm mentoring and coaching in a way that felt that it feels right for me, for you, for us, for the greater good of your experience. So this feels different than other classes that I teach. So if you've been in the world of the empowered principle before, I may teach a ton of content fast, lots of downloads, and I might do them succinctly because I want to keep the momentum. I want your energy up. I want you to be excited. This is not that kind of energy. This is a lower frequency. We're turning down the volumes. We're slowing down. And I want you just to really trust me on this and stick with me on this. What we're talking through, what we talked through on Monday, what we're talking through today, and what we're going to talk through on Saturday morning, all the way through this, all 5 of these sessions, this is what we try to rush through. We try to expedite the pain. We try to rush through it. We try to circumvent it. We want to bypass it. We want to go around it. Or we're like, okay, I'll feel bad for a couple of days and then I want to just write this off. The reason I'm having you go slow is because we're leaning into it. We're leaning into the feelings. We're allowing ourselves to feel them because we don't want to be afraid to feel these feelings. Okay. So if you're coming in, if you miss day 1 and you're coming in on day 2, that's totally fine. We're just going to pick up right here where you are right now, how you're feeling right now. And we're going to take you gently from where you are right now through today. You can always go back and watch the replay. If you've already watched the replay or you came and joined us live, it might feel slow for you, but I want it to feel slow because I want us to lean into the emotion to feel them. So today we're going to talk about it's almost like the stages of grief, right? When we've lost somebody, there are the stages of grief and we know they aren't linear and we know we don't go through them in exactly the order that they are listed. Like first it's this and then it's this and then it's this. But I'm taking you through a process of giving you snapshots and windows into how you might be feeling and why you might be feeling and the thoughts behind those feelings and the emotions behind those feelings and the feelings about the feelings, right? We're slowing you down to give you this luxurious, delicious space to really be held, to be seen, to be heard, to feel with no judgment, with no time limits, with no criticisms, with no, shaming or no rushing. We're not doing any of that. So, however you're feeling today is how you're feeling. Okay. So, if you're joining us and this is your first time, welcome. Today, we're going to talk about being in denial, being in anger, really spinning out in not wanting it to be true and being in the anger of it. And I promise you, we are going to start to move into like the session 3. We're going to talk about that on Saturday morning. That is going to be a more exploration. We're going to start turning up the lightness, turning up the empowerment, right? As we start to dive in and use this experience and leverage these emotions to understand more about ourselves, why we're feeling this way, why we reacted this way, and who we want to be moving forward. Okay. So, but for now, you may be in serious waves of emotion, just as you might be, as I said, losing someone or going through a hard breakup, like we talked about the other day, especially when a loved one passes unexpectedly, when you go through a breakup unexpectedly, those unexpected ones, they can take your breath away. They can take the will to live out of you. It feels so incredibly painful. And it does come in waves. You might have a good cry and you might fall asleep and then you wake up and you feel okay. And then something midday triggers you, right? Or you hear somebody whispering about you not being back. Or you see someone rolling their eyes when you walk by, or they kind of like walk away. And then it triggers you all over again. So the mind will perseverate. And what the mind does, it likes to problem solve because it wants you to be comfortable, to be safe, and for things to feel as good as possible. So it's going to protect you, it's going to keep you safe. And the way that it does that is it tries to solve the problem. So it thinks about the what happened, and why did it happen? And what's the solution? And why is that the solution? It's always focusing on the what and the why and the how. I got to know the how. How do we do this? How do we fix this? How do we get out of this? How do we not? And at this stage, it might be, how do I stop this from happening? How do I not make this happen? Right? So it's normal. And of course you're thinking, what could I have done differently? What just happened? Why did this happen? Just tell me what to do. I'll fix it. Like, make this go away. Why me? Why am I being picked on? Why now? Why this year? I worked so hard this year. I don't understand. Like, why? So your brain will come up with all these questions, but notice. And I noticed this with my own brain. I've noticed it with other clients' brains. They feel all these feelings and the brain is like asking these questions. But what we don't do when we're in pain, when we're thinking about having been told this, when we're thinking about the embarrassment of going back, we're not answering the questions. We're asking the questions, we're not answering them. Why did this happen? Well, why did it? Why do I think it happened? Well, how do I fix this? All right, well, how do I fix it? We don't do that. We just like, why? And we're just in this, like, we're in so much pain that we are kind of wrapping ourselves. I don't want to say it's pity, but it's you're coddling yourself. You're just like wrapping yourself up in a little blanket, like a little burrito, and trying to like give yourself some love. So the questions are like the whys. They're kind of wrapping you up, but the answers to those questions like open and expose pain again, which is why we don't explore them. Okay. So, you know what, like when we have a breakup, the brain will want to go and be like, remember all the good times, the rose-colored glasses go on. We think about how good it was, how wonderful the job was, the people that we love, the people we're going to miss, the kids, the families we love. We don't think about the struggles. Somehow the brain just filters all that out. It's like, how awful. I'm going to miss this was the perfect job for me. We don't think about the struggles. It's like when, the boyfriend, the partner breaks up with you and all you can think about is all the good times. And your girlfriend's like, but remember the conversations we used to have late at night or over a glass of wine? Remember those? We don't think about that. It's because we want to feel the pain. We want to go through these stages of grief. We actually do. Because we want to be sad that we're being released from a job that we didn't anticipate being released from. The parts, we don't think about all the parts we don't love, like all those IEP meetings that went poorly, and all the days we had to step in and sub because we didn't have enough subs, and getting that 4 o'clock call, there's not going to be enough subs, or there's a ton of people out, or you know someone didn't make it on the bus, or someone broke their arm on the playground, you got to call 911, or you've got to call and do a CPS report. Like there's so many painful things, but none of that, we don't count any of that when we're feeling bad about being released. We filter all that out because it would be in dissonance to how we're feeling. It's like, wait, I'm being sad right now. I'm in denial. I'm angry right now. So don't come at me, brain, with thoughts that contradict or provide dissonance, like, friction from how I'm feeling. This is what I'm thinking about. This is how I'm feeling. So I want you to consider, and I invite you to consider that you do want to go through these phases of grief and anger and denial. Because what's happened is awareness. Like we talked about shock. You kind of that first little bit where you're really in shock. What just happened? Your body feels physically in shock, your mind is in shock, your emotions kind of numb. And now we're like thinking about it, right? Now we're getting into the no, 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 not doing this. I'm angry, or I'm hurt, or I'm sad. I'm grieving. I'm upset. I'm angry. I don't want this to happen. I'm in denial. I'm resisting this. Okay. So while this is what's exceptionally hard about school leadership and why I focus specifically on educators, when we're released from our jobs, it's not like corporate, right? Corporate might say, hey, come in, have a seat in HR. Here's the thing. Or your boss just, hey, you're fired. Or you've been given 2 weeks. Or if it's something, I don't know, they walk you to your desk, you grab your things, and they walk you to the door. There isn't this months, weeks upon months of, hey, by the way, we're releasing you because you've either not met standard, or we believe you haven't met standard, or there's some reason, right? There's some reason we believe you are not the one for this job. However, because you signed a contract, we would love for you to continue to perform the job for this year, even though we don't believe you're good enough, you know, for next year. We do believe you're good enough for this year. So please show up 100%, do your very best, continue to create a movement, keep the vision going, keep people on track, give them feedback, hire people that you're not going to work with next year. Please do that for us because we want your positions full. And don't be, whiny or sassy about it. Just show up and do your job. So you have to have a tremendous amount of internal mental and emotional strength, resiliency, and maturity to be able to feel the authenticity of your experience and also navigate the shock, the pain, the sadness, the grief, the embarrassment, the guilt, the disappointment, whatever you're feeling, and still get up every morning, put on your principal clothing, put on those shoes, drive to work, and then put your principal face and hat on. That's tough. And we don't really teach how to navigate all of this. Corporate just like boom, because you know what? There's no pressure. This requires a lot of tension and pressure. You have to hold a lot of pressure and tension for this space because there's this gap between when they tell you and your last day, contracted day, for the most part. Corporate, they don't want to put up with that pressure. They don't want to feel the discomfort, and they don't want you. Here, you're in, you're out, we're gone, boo, they're gone. So they don't have to feel the pressure, and you don't have to feel the tension. Just out. We have to be bigger than that. We have to be stronger than that, more empowered than that. And as a human, we also have our authentic, emotional experience that we need to validate. This is why it's so tough. Your brain is not going to want to do this, especially with your employer, especially if you're in the stages of anger, frustration, denial. You are not going to feel like getting up every morning, putting on that big smile, and saying, you know what? I would love to be fabulous for them for the next 3 months, just so they can see what they're missing. Most of us don't do that. We're upset and we're angry, we're in denial. We are going to be like, what am I doing? Why? Why am I doing this? Or we feel that social pressure and we're so ashamed. It's like, I gotta just give in to this, just put my head down, be ashamed, do the walk of shame through the halls and just put my tail between my legs and get out of here. So we end up wanting to give up, just like, what's the point? Do the bare minimum. We want to give in, or we want to try really hard and prove ourselves we're worthy of staying. So why would we choose these options? Option number one, let's give up. It's just like giving up is when you just stop giving your best effort. You're like, whatever, I'm not doing this. And you've had teachers who've done this. I've I've had them, you've had them, we've all had them. You've seen a teacher when they've been told, they get very angry and they get kind of they dance on the line of insubordination. They just kind of get obstinate and they're just kind of cranky. Some of them go way past the line. I just had to coach somebody on somebody who was like literally not doing her job, taking as many days off as she could. She was coming in late, leaving early, talking on social media. Like she was way above the line, or below the line, I should say, below the standard. But a lot of people just dance the line. Like they'll show up, they do to the contract, to the letter of the contract, but nothing more. But inside, giving up is when you let go of caring, when you let go of your best effort, when you let go of kind of leading. You're just there physically you're a body doing the job. You've seen teachers do this and maybe support staff. Because the thought, what's driving those actions? It's like, why should I give them 110% when they've let me go? Why? When you feel angry, resentful, and that's the energy, that's the pain driving the decisions to kind of give up. Giving up is just, it's one form of what I call relief, where you're like, I'm just going to like, they don't want me, fine. I'm just going to do the bare minimum, show up, be a body in the position for the next 2 months. I'll do what I have to do to not get released sooner than I've already been released. I'll just do the job, but I stop caring. It's an internal option that we do. Okay. So giving up's when we're just like, but giving in is when we allow them to win. This is where we like the other one's kind of apathetic. We kind of stop caring. This one is when we care too much. It's like not enough, too much, and we allow them to win. They crush us. It crushes you, crushes your spirit. It defeats you. It feels like they have complete power over you. It consumes your thoughts. It consumes your body, your emotions. It disempowers you. It completely just wipes you out. And you think about what they've said and you're like finding truth in what they've said. And you believe like, oh, that you're not good enough or capable enough or worthy enough or resilient enough or whatever they're telling you. Like you're too little of that and too much of that, therefore you're not capable of this job. And you're like, okay. And they crush you. You're like, not cut out for school leadership, not good enough. I guess that's the truth. I didn't, I give in. And when we're in that energy, when we have to show up, we're just appeasing. We start people pleasing. We appease them. We agree with them. We might grovel. We might kiss up. We might fawn. You might have heard of that when you just kind of kissing up and fawning and placating people. So we're either giving it up, just giving it up, giving it in, or we try really hard, right? And I've done all of these actually, even in the same context. Like depending on how you're feeling that day, you're going to show up. Sometimes you could care less, and other times you're just like, oh, they've crushed me. And then other times I'm going to try really hard and show them, right? You kind of lose yourself over these next couple of months in seeking approval, trying to win their approval, trying to convince them, trying for them to see what they're losing. We do this when we're dating too, right? I'll show them I'm the one that got away, and I'll show them. I'm going to prove myself. They'll see what they've missed and they'll be so sorry. They'll be so regretful that they let me go. Okay. So I bring these up because we want to just notice the patterns of behavior that we have. So we tend to lean towards one or the other, but we do exhibit all three of them. So if you're a little mix of all of these, that's totally a part of this. Okay. So I want you to realize that when we're shuffling around, some days we care, some days we don't, some days they've crushed us, some days we're in our kind of sassy energy. This is all just a part of how the lens through which we're looking at the situation, how we're thinking about it in the moment. So some days you're going to feel, really empowered, and other days you're going to feel totally crushed and disempowered, and other days you're going to be like, whatever, what's the point? Okay, that's normal. So what if these three things aren't creating the result we want, it's not really helping the outcome, and we are miserable. So think about it. When you're apathetic, it's like you kind of just lost your steam. It's like you're just going in robotically and showing up. But it's your passion's gone, your energy's gone, your momentum's gone, your having fun feels gone. It feels numb. So it's not the outcome we desire, but our bodies and our minds don't know what else to do. And then if we go into like giving in, that feels really bad because that's when we are jumping on the train of insufficiency, incompetency, like our self-worth goes down, our identity just gets, wiped out, and we feel a little bit lost, a little hopeless. Like, who am I? What am I good at? Like, obviously, like I'm not going to be able. We lose confidence. So much confidence is just going right down the drain. And that can be where we feel very sad, very discouraged, very defeated, very depressed. And again, not a lot of energy, not a lot of momentum. It's another form of stagnancy. And that's not the result that we're looking for either. And then when we're trying to people please, when we're trying to like, I'll prove it, I'll show you, we're trying to force an outcome, to coerce something, to kind of manipulate other people, external extenuating circumstances. Like we're trying to go into the minds of our superiors and change them and trying to kind of coerce a different outcome. Maybe that works. Maybe it's worked for some people. Maybe that's why they lean that way. Like, I'll show you. And then they're like, oh my gosh, all of a sudden I realized, you're the principal of our dreams. Or in a, relationship, like, oh no, you really are the love of my life. Look at you go. It typically doesn't happen. Like they've made up their mind. You doing a dog and pony show, or are you trying to show up? Are you like, if you hadn't been putting effort in and now you are, it's kind of like too little, too late kind of a thing. So, what do we do? Because the only reason we act this way is we're trying to create a result that we want. We're trying to create an outcome that we want, but we're trying to control what's outside of our control in order to get what we want. And what we think we want is to stay in the job. And we're really convicted at this point in the game, we're convinced that we want to stay in this job. There's not too many people at the beginning stages where like, you know what? You're right. I'm out. That this is the best decision for us, for the greater good. We don't usually go there. Okay. So what can you do? There is another way. So I want you to, when you're thinking about this, like just notice, do I tend to go into like giving in? Do I give up? Do I people please? Do I try to prove myself? What type of energy are you showing up in these days? Are you kind of high? It's a form of fight or flight. You're either fighting, right? Trying to prove yourself, fighting. Flight, it's just like going under the radar, or you're just like numb. You're freezing. Okay. Let's talk about another way that might be more productive for you and for the greater good of your career. I call this self-led coaching. This is what I teach. I teach it to my clients. I teach it with my one-on-one clients, with my Empowered Principal Collaborative, the EPC group, which is a group coaching program through the entire school year. I teach the group how to do this. It's a requirement. I feel like a human development requirement. And yet we're not teaching it in our schools. We're not teaching it in our credentialing programs. So this is why I teach it here with you. It's self-led coaching. It's how to guide yourself through pain and negative emotion, how to guide yourself through that, to navigate when it's so uncomfortable. What do I do with all of this pain, this energy? It's guiding our thoughts back to more empowering thoughts. Self-coaching is about guiding our actions and showing up in our decisions and our actions. I call that your approach, the approach you're going to take, like guiding that approach that you want to take, being intentional with it, even when you don't feel like it. How do you do that? How do you show up as the most empowered version of yourself when you don't feel like it? When you're angry, when you're in denial, when you're frustrated, when you're grieving. This is what self-led coaching is. Okay. So, what is self-led coaching? It's being the coach and the mentee, like the person who's being coached. So there's two voices going on. And I know this sounds kind of crazy, but stick with me here. This works. This is what we should be teaching children from the day they set foot on our campuses, is how to start navigating their thoughts, their belief systems, their emotions, how they respond to things, how they react. So there's a part of you that's coaching, there's a part of you that's being coached. It's a skill set, it's a mindset. It's also an art. There's a science and an art to this, okay? I'm going to give you the overview of it in this class. We go much deeper into it if you're a one-on-one client. Obviously, we take that personally, and then in the group, I teach it at a depth in terms of how to self-coach. And then in the EP Academy, Empowered Principal Academy, which is coming out this summer, that is going to teach you how to coach other people, okay? So this is about being the coach and the coached, observing your thoughts with a little bit of distance, creating some space between what you're thinking and attaching it to your identity. That's why there's the coach who kind of stays separate and the thoughts you're coaching. So basically what it looks like is asking yourself questions to expand your perspective, but not just asking them. They're not rhetorical questions. You're actually answering them. Okay, so you're going to ask a lot of questions. That's what a coach does, just like your instructional coaches. And then you're actually going to answer them. So, Angela, why, what's coming up for you today? What are you thinking? Oh, or how are you feeling today? Well, I'm feeling pretty angry today about this. I'm really ticked off. I'm really feeling mad. Tell me more. Tell me why. Why are you angry? What's coming up? And you're having this conversation with yourself around your thoughts, around your emotions, okay? Or perhaps around your actions, like why did I do this, or what was coming up for me when I did that? What was I thinking and feeling that led to that decision or that action? Okay? You're asking yourself questions and then asking yourself to expand with answers, expanding your perspective, seeking to understand yourself. Remember the phrase seek to understand other people when you're in relationships or when you're in conversations. We want to seek to understand children. We want to seek to understand students, seek to understand our teachers. This time we're seeking to understand ourselves. Another aspect of self-led coaching And I'm so proud of this because I have created this through my own pain, through my own experiences, and it has helped hundreds of school leaders. Talking with your emotions, talking to them as though they were a person, letting the emotion have a voice. Emotions are vibrational energy. It's the way your body speaks to your mind. Your mind speaks through words, it has language. So it will speak through, it'll chatter through language, but your body speaks through emotion. And your body and your mind are having conversation all the time. So it helps you make decisions with intention. When you're coaching yourself, you're getting clear, you're understanding yourself, you're seeking to understand who you are so that you can be in alignment with your values, in alignment with your belief systems, making sure they feel good, and you want to move forward in your decisions and your actions, right? Also, self coaching, really important aspect of self coaching is bringing in self love, self kindness, self respect, self compassion, self forgiveness, patience, and also self ownership. So, how do you do this in real time? This one's tricky because you have to be processing, you have to be coaching yourself mentally, emotionally, and you still have to show up. And you've got to be aware enough to think outside of the pain. Because when we react, and you think about this with a student, when they, let's say they have a moment and they react to their emotions inside the classroom and they explode. And they, they're having a tantrum or they're throwing things or they're crying, like, you know what I'm talking about. They really lose it. Okay. They have a meltdown. And then someone assists them and maybe takes them out of the classroom or takes them outside to catch their breath, or there's an assistant, something happens where there's an intervention. Okay. Upon returning and like reacclimating into the classroom, there's maybe a shame spiral happening, right? When they come back, they're embarrassed. That's not what they want their colleague or their peers to have seen. That's not how they want to be representing themselves. That's not how they want to be interacting. And so they might feel really embarrassed to come back. Kids might not express that, adults will. Like if they, let's say somebody has a meltdown at a staff meeting, and then the next staff meeting, they're like so embarrassed or so ashamed because they're not thinking in the moment. They're reacting to their emotions. They're not thinking about how they want to be perceived, the kind of person they want to be in that moment, how they want to handle that, how they want to show up. Okay. So for you, we have to be thinking about this outside of working. We have to think about how do I want to live and lead through these next weeks, through the next couple of months. So it gives us an invitation to explore our thoughts about it, our belief systems, our perspective. Also expressing our emotions with authenticity, validating the emotions, but also using them as wisdom versus using them as weapons, right? Weapons of mass destruction, where we come in and we just react and spread our emotional energy all over the campus. Whether that's, we're speaking and talking to our friends, our campus, the people we trust, or we're getting on social media and we're saying things, or we are talking at home, or if you're giving everyone the silent treatment, you're just keeping to yourself. Be thinking about how you're expressing yourself. How are you living in these next couple of months, and how are you leading yourself and leading your school through it? So, one of the tools that I teach is called a brain drain. And it's the simplest, I didn't invent it. I just call it a brain drain. It's basically like a thought download. You go from your head onto paper, and I highly recommend paper. I said this last time, I'll say it again. There is something about pen to paper, but of course you can write it on your phone or in your computer. But it's very important to do this. I know this feels tedious and you don't want to sit in the pain, but this is how you release it. You write about it, you think about it, you talk about it, you explore it. We're going to get more into exploration on Saturday morning, the session 3. So a brain drain is simply just like getting it all out, saying all the things, the ugly things, the nasty things, whatever. Get a piece of paper, say it, write it all down, list your thoughts. This is why I'm angry, especially when you're in an angry phase, like shock, you might not even, like, you might feel so numb. There might be some disassociation there, but anger, you're going to have some thoughts. Write them down. They don't have to be, here's the thing. The thought is just a sentence in your mind. There's 60,000 of them running through there a day. You don't have to do anything with that thought. It's just there. It's like a ticker tape. I always think of it like a ticker tape, at Wall Street, where they're just like it's running in New York City, just like with the Dow, whatever, all the stats or the news is just like, when you're watching the news, they have that like little ticker tape down below and it's just like running constantly. That's what our thoughts are doing. Write them all down. Putting it from pen to paper separates it from your existence, your identity. It's just a sentence on a piece of paper, and then we can work with it. But when we don't want to do this, we want to sit in our thoughts. So, like if you're lying in bed at night and your brain's just going, thinking, 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 grab your phone, or if you don't have your phone in your room, have a little notebook. Just write them down. It's amazing. I used to do this as a principal when I didn't want to forget something. I would wake up in the night, oh my gosh, I got to remember to do that. I had a little notebook so I could write it down. Then it was a placeholder. Then my brain was like, okay, great. Now it's onto paper. I don't have to hold it in my working memory anymore. I can go back to sleep. So if your brain is going off, and it's especially if it's grieving or angry, let it have a voice. Put it down onto the paper. And then once you've done that, you're going to see some sentences that are just like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you're going to see some sentences that are going to be really emotionally charged. My invitation is that you take one of those sentences and you simply explore it a little bit more. And there's a tool that I teach called the STEER cycle, STEAR. It's an acronym. The S stands for situation, and that's what happened. The situation is a fact, it's neutral, it's a circumstance. The situation, we're going to walk through this, right? There's a situation that happened. You got released. That's the situation. I was released. Okay. There's the situation. See how it's neutral? But we have thoughts about being released. That's the T. There's a situation. We have thoughts about the situation. And depending on how we're thinking about that situation, triggers emotional energy. So if we're like, great, I got fired, didn't want to work here anyway, whew, lucky me, that feels different in your body than what are you talking about? I just busted my buns this year. No, I don't. I want to see evidence. I want to understand where are the standards? What did I break? What I have to know. I'm panicked. How am I going to get a job? I have a family to provide for. I love this school. That is going to provide a different emotional response. I should say reaction, a different emotional reaction because it's almost like involuntary, right? So that getting fired, getting released, different people have different thoughts. There's a whole spectrum. It's this endless number of thoughts you could think about that. And usually you have multiple thoughts. So you have multiple emotions, right? Different thoughts, different emotions. But this is where we want to create awareness. And the tool I'm teaching you, this very much the outline here, the STEER cycle is just an awareness tool. It's not It's not a tool to fix and solve anything. It's just you getting your feet on the ground and understanding what am I feeling and why. Because if we don't understand how am I feeling and why am I feeling it, your decisions and your actions, which I call the approach, that's the A in the steer cycle, is going to be in response to how you're feeling. And if you're not in tune with that, it will happen without intention. You will just be reacting to your emotions like a kid does when they don't get a cookie from the cookie jar, or when someone takes their toy away, or when somebody texts their best friend or their boyfriend or girlfriend and people go off. They're not thinking through, they're not pausing. I'm like, wow, what emotion is this? What's coming up for me? Why am I feeling this way? What's going on? We react instead of being intentional with our approach. And this is the invitation here, is to be intentional with the approach. Because that, your approach will always, 100% of the time impact the result that you create for yourself, the outcomes you create for yourself. So, what's an example of this? Your district released you from the position that you served. I have been released from a position that I served. Okay. Situation. The thoughts are what we make it mean. This shouldn't have happened. I don't want this to happen. I don't like this. It's the shouldn'ts, right? Excuse me. Well, this should not be happening. And if you're very freaked out about it, you might feel devastation. It might feel pain. Everyone feels different, right? But there's sentences in your mind, opinions, beliefs, thoughts, perspectives, interpretations about the situation. Oh, here's why I got fired, or here's why that person doesn't like me. Oh, they've had it out for me all year. They favor over them, or oh, they just want their favorite person to get my job. And so we have a lot of feelings. We might feel indignant. We might feel annoyed. We might feel like we know. We might feel kind of feisty, right? This tool is just simply for you to create awareness, like what's even going on inside of me right now? Because here's what we try to do. We try to pretend we don't feel bad. We try to fake it through till we make it, right? People will say just fake it till you make it, or just show up. Don't let it bother you. Or take them on. Like the way that we handle this moment is a milestone for us. It's a career milestone. And if we're not in tune with ourselves and we're not prepared, the way we react to it might cause more harm for ourselves personally and professionally and with our career. So we want to be intentional and mindful, okay? So when you're in devastation, you probably went into shock at first, and then you probably didn't say anything when you just sat there like blindsided. Then maybe you started kind of justifying and trying to explain yourself to try and like, whoa, 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 let's take this down a notch. And then maybe you got in your car and you cried on the way home. Then you maybe called your best friend or you talked to your spouse and you spun out. And then you get mad and then you start to feel angry. You make a list of all the reasons why they're the problem or they shouldn't fire you. And maybe you start to draft an email. Did you push send or did you leave it as a draft? What happened with that? How aware were you? Was it the email that you wanted to send? Is sending that email with that draft form in alignment with your empowerment? Oftentimes it's not, because it's coming from the energy of devastation and frustration and anger. Okay. Let me take a drink here. So you drafted this email. Maybe you didn't send it quite yet because then you thought, maybe I should get a lawyer. Maybe I should get on Facebook and say something. Maybe I should. The brain's just, I'm going to solve this. I'm going to figure this out. Or it's just, I don't know what to do. I lost my job. I am must be completely incompetent and I'm going to go sob myself to sleep. This is what happens in reaction. But we wake up the next morning, and what's the result of all of that? All of the things we did, it still happened. The situation's the fact. It happened. We can't change it, can't take it back. It's like when someone passes away, we wake up, we don't want it to be true. And yet, there it is. As soon as we wake up, it's true. It happened. Now what? The result is you're in it. You're in the identity quake. You're feeling all the feels and you're in resistance at the same time. So here is the biggest challenge when we're in the moment, when we're in here in real time. This is tough stuff, guys. The challenge is that we think when we're looking at a steer cycle, and I'm going to send you, for those of you who registered for this, if you're on here live or you're watching the replay, if you're on the registration list, you will get you'll get a copy of the steer cycle so you can see it along with your booklet. Okay. So this what's so challenging, and if I wish I could just gift this to people, is that we think in the moment it feels so true. And I do this too. I still do this. I'm a human. Every human brain thinks this. In the moment when we're in pain, we believe that the situation, the getting fired, the being released, we think that that is what caused our thoughts and emotions. We really believe that. Well, I wouldn't have these thoughts and emotions if I hadn't gotten fired, if I hadn't been released. Well, that's true because you wouldn't be thinking about getting released until you got released. You don't have thoughts about getting released until you get released. So, yes, you did get released, but you have opinions about that. You have thoughts about it. You have feelings about it. So it's not that getting fired made you feel mad, because not everybody feels mad when they get fired. It didn't make you feel sad. Not everybody feels sad. It's the thought. There's a little something in the middle there. Something happens to us, and we think we jump straight from the situation to the feeling, but it's our narrative. It's the sentences in our mind, the ones that we believe to be true. That is what generates the energy and the emotions. It's like it's raining outside. It's a fact. Either it's raining or it's not. You can go out and you can see it, you can feel it, you can taste it, and get all your senses involved. Yes, it's raining. I can verify that it's raining. Okay. What about the rain? If the rain made people feel a certain way, then everyone would feel the same way about rain. But different people think and feel differently based on how they, their opinion of it, their perspective of it. So they think and feel differently about rain. Other people think and feel differently about being released. Now, you might argue with me and say, yeah, but like, well, everyone's going to feel bad if they got released. Maybe there's a very high percentage of people who feel bad. But can we say on the planet that everyone who gets released from their job is upset? Some people realize very quickly, oh God, I didn't realize how much I wanted out of this position, but I couldn't have been the one to do it. But the fact that they did it, I'm actually so relieved. I've had clients with this experience. And then they've gone off to do like completely other things. Take care of family members, go off and have babies, like, or they went and got a totally other job and were just delighted, thrilled. Couldn't have been happier. And they're like, I never would have done it. I would have just kept staying. I felt obligated to stay. I didn't know how to say I wanted to leave. I didn't even admit it to myself. So when it's raining outside, some people love when it rains. Cozy, it's fresh, it smells good. The trees and the flowers all get a drink. Other people are like, I hate the rain, makes the commute horrible. My windshield wipers need replacing and they're terrible. I hate getting wet. It's depressing. It's cloudy and windy and blah, blah, blah. It does, it's the thoughts. But when you're in pain, you're going to think that it's those people. So, what do you do with this? Here are some tips I can offer you. Take baby steps. You don't take a steer cycle and tackle it all at once. You don't even need to try and change it. When you do a brain drain and you just write down everything you're thinking, you don't have to change that story right now. You're simply acknowledging it. You know, so often when we're feeling a certain way, we don't even stop to acknowledge it. Like, why am I so flustered right now? We don't even acknowledge it. Wow, I'm flustered right now. Just saying that I'm angry right now. I'm enraged. I'm furious. I'm mad. I'm upset. I am so hurt. How how could they? That's a thought. After all I did, that's a thought. The feelings need to be acknowledged. Don't try to change it into happy thoughts. You don't want to be happy when you're mad. You know, when someone tries to cheer you up and like, don't even try. I want to be mad. Be mad. There's a reason you're mad. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. So don't try to change any feelings between now and Saturday. Just acknowledge the feelings. Let yourself actually feel them. Be true to how you're feeling in the moment. Allow the waves to ebb and flow. We're not changing anything. We're acknowledging them. We're validating them. That's it. We don't want to go through this step, which is why I'm taking this so slowly. This is the fastest way. Go slow to go fast, as they say. The fastest way to go back into your empowerment and to feel better is to lean into these feelings. And we're going to explore them on Saturday. This process is not linear. So, the reason we don't like this is because it feels terrible. It feels terrible to do all of this work. We just want to avoid it, ignore it. Just, have a drink, have a glass of wine, and let it go away. But feeling terrible, my friends, isn't a problem. We have such negative opinions about feeling terrible because we don't want to feel terrible. It's like when, I don't know why this came to my mind, but when you get the flu and you're like thinking about having to get sick and you're so in resistance, I don't want to get sick. I'll do anything not to get sick. I hate getting sick. It feels good. And you hate vomiting, getting sick so badly, but you will sit there and think about it, and your stomach's in agony, your whole body's in agony, and you're resisting it and resisting it, and it feels terrible. And then you actually like get sick, and yes, it is terrible, but immediately you feel relief afterwards until the next round, right? Which this is the same thing. It's just that's a physical pain, a physical terrible. This is an emotional terrible. But what we're doing is like our body getting sick is supposed to happen. It's trying to get poison or bad things out of us. Like if we have the flu or we've got food poisoning, like it's trying to heal us. Even though the process is unpleasant, it heals our body. That's what we have to do here when we're in such pain, to lean in. We have to feel sick for a while. And our brain wants to believe that it's such a problem that we will do anything to stop the discomfort. And what we end up doing is we judge, like when we are in pain, when we're angry, we're like judging. I shouldn't be angry. Why am I so angry? I don't want to be angry. So I'm angry. I want to be angry, but I don't want to be angry. Why should I be angry? Gosh, I should just get over this. We start judging, criticizing, and telling it's like having a foreman lean over you and be like, not don't do it that way. Do it this way. This is how you should feel. No, not like that. You can be angry, but not like that. Well, how should I be angry? Well, actually, I don't want to be angry like that. Well, you should try to be angry. This is how I want to be angry. Well, that's not becoming of me. Well, this is, you really shouldn't be angry at all, right? You feel bad for feeling bad, and then you're mad at yourself for feeling bad about feeling bad. We can drive ourselves into madness. So the goal is just to lean in, not to judge the feelings, to validate them, to be authentic, to validate them, to work with them instead of believing that you're under attack. When you're feeling badly and it feels terrible, like when you're feeling sick, you just work with it. You're like, okay, I guess this is happening. Let's go. Let's just get this over with. But then you feel so much better. That's a terrible analogy, but it's actually I think it's the most poignant. It's true. So this is how you're going to be able to feel and show up. I know this is hard. I'm not dismissing you at all. Dismissing this work is painful. Not at all. We're leaning in. But I will tell you this on Saturday, what's coming up for you is that we're going to start the exploration. We're going to turn up a little bit of the empowerment and a little bit of the lightness, and we're going to start to seek to understand. That's what exploration's about. So feel the feels, write them down, just get curious about them. Don't try to change them. Let them be small baby steps. I'll see you on Saturday morning for day 3, which will be exploration. So here's what you're going to do. Today is what? Wednesday, the 21st. Is it Wednesday or Thursday? No, it's Wednesday. No, my gosh, it's Tuesday. What is going on with me right now? Today is Tuesday. This week, you're going to feel bad inside and you're going to show up for work. Notice, are you trying to give up? Are you trying to give in? Are you trying to prove yourself? Can you come home and coach yourself through empowerment? It's going to feel awful and you're going to show up for work. You're going to feel the burn of worrying about what everybody's out there thinking about you and saying about you, but you're still going to hold your head up. And yes, you will feel the heaviness of the discouragement, of the defeat. And I want you to see if you can lean into still focusing on the needs of your staff and your students. We're just going to kind of stretch our muscles here a little bit, spread our wings a little bit. Can we hold space for feeling awful, feeling mad, grieving, feeling sad, being worried, and just still showing up, coming in with our head up, focusing on the needs of our students, and inside we're still feeling bad. Can we do that? Can we hold space for both? It's a skill. So I just want to let you know in this stage, there might be a little bit of detachment, a little bit of disassociation. You might have to go in and just kind of be numb. It's okay. Do your best. You're going to have a little bit of detachment. You might be walking through the motions at work. Some days you'll be able to handle it with more energy, more empowerment, more connection than others. No judgment. Remember, we're not going to feel bad about feeling bad. We're not going to judge feeling bad. We're not going to criticize it. It's just going to be what it is. So try to ground yourself in ways that feel good. Get lots of sleep. Treat yourself. Get your favorite coffee. Get your favorite juices. Drink lots of liquids. Stay hydrated. Go home as soon as you can go home. Give yourself time and space. Take some walks. Get fresh air. Put your feet on the grass. Put your feet on the ground. Literally ground yourself. Be held if you have loved ones in your home that can hold you. Hold your kids. Have a best friend come over. Do a sleepover. Do something fun. Just literally wrap yourself up in little burrito love and give yourself some space, alone time to grieve and to do brain drain and to look at your steer cycle. And then on Saturday, we're going to contemplate some more empowering thoughts for yourself. Okay? Have the most beautiful week. I'm here for you. I love you. I'm supporting you. And I want you to take excellent care of yourself. All right? Join us for day 3. Empowerment's on the way, I promise. We'll talk soon. Take good care. Much love. Bye-bye.